Hello guys, welcome to the part 2 video of the if function we did. If you haven't watched it, it's a simple and a comprehensive application of an if function. That is the part 1 of this video. Don't worry, I will put it on the screen at the end of this video. In this video, we will use the Countif function to help us achieve our goal of calculating a class performance. Here on my screen, these are the results in this column that we got from our part 1 video using if function. Now, in this video, we will calculate how many students failed in contrast to the number of those who passed. We will use the function that will count the total number of the students that passed and the total number of the students that failed, as well as the total number of the students that we have in this classroom. We will use the counter function to count the total number of the students that we have in this classroom, and specifically use a countif function to count the students that passed and those that failed. The difference between these two functions is that a counter function only counts all the objects or items within a set or a certain collection. Meanwhile, a countif function is also a counting function, but its operation is highly restricted to a certain criteria, as it only counts the specific items within a collection or items that fulfill a particular desired criteria. Now let's put this into action. In so doing, we will go and select the cell where we would like this function to return the total number of the students that we have in this classroom, which is this cell here next to total. Then we're going to put an equal sign and type counter to launch it on our screen. Double click on it to select it. Now it's active. We're only gonna use value 1 because we have only one column that we want this function to count the objects that are found within that column. So we're gonna click on the first cell, then we're gonna hold and drag down and release. Then we're gonna put a closing bracket, then press enter. Now it shows the results that in this classroom we only have 7 students. We will do the same for these two cells here, but the function will change since we don't want to simply count the total number of the students we have, but the total number of the students that have passed and those that have failed. So in this case, there is a criteria that has to be met and that we want this function to abide by, which is a pass and a fail. So let's go ahead and do this so that you will practically see what I'm talking about. We're gonna go to this cell and select it, put an equal sign and type countif to search it, then select it. Now we can see from here we have a range and the criteria. The range is this column here. So we're gonna select this and put a separator. Then we're gonna open the quotation marks. Then we're gonna type pass. We want this function to count all the pass. Then we're gonna close and press enter. So from here we can see that out of the 7 students, only 5 passed. So we'll do the same for those who failed. We want to calculate how many of those who failed. So we're gonna put an equal sign and type countif again and select it. Then we're gonna select the range and close the range. Go to the criteria. So the criteria has to be fail. We're gonna open the quotation marks and type fail and close the quotation marks and put a closing bracket and press enter. So we only have 2 students that failed out of the server. So finally, we have a class performance to calculate, which will be an accomplishment of our ultimate goal for this video. We will calculate it within this cell with a bold outline. So we'll put an equal sign to do that and select the cell that contains the total number of the students that passed and put a division sign and select the cell that has the total number of the students within this classroom, which is this one. Then we're gonna press enter, and from here we can see that a performance of this classroom is only 71%. If you are struggling to distinguish these two functions or struggle to determine which of these two functions you have to use under any given circumstance, here is something that will help you do so. Let's start off by counter. Counter only counts everything in that collection, while on the other hand we have countif function, which is a self-explanatory function for your convenience. You can easily grasp the idea from its name, that is count an item if it meets a given criteria.